Now we're going to look at working with scripted custom attributes in Max Script. Let me just start by quickly running through creating a custom attribute interactively. So I'm creating a sphere here, going to the Modify panel. I'm going to add an attribute holder. Then I go to the Animation menu, Parameter Editor. I'll just accept all the defaults and click Add. That adds this custom attribute here. Then I can go to Wire Parameters, find that attribute holder, find the custom attribute, go across to the other side and find whatever it is that I want to control with that custom attribute. I'll just go to the X position of the sphere, control direction, and connect. And now this spinner controls the X position of the sphere. So that's the interactive way of going about what I'm about to do in Max Script. And the first step of it is creating the sphere and then creating the attribute holder. So that's all that takes. We've seen that before. I'll just delete that. Now the next step is to create the custom attribute, and this code will accomplish that. And for information on this code, see the Scripted Custom Attributes topic in the help files. But basically this is defining a rollout. It has two controls, a spinner and a slider, and then it's creating the custom attribute up here in the parameters section. So let's go ahead and run that. So here we have our sphere, and here's our attribute holder. Now we really don't see the effects of this yet, because we've created the custom attribute, but we haven't put it anywhere yet. It's not in the attribute holder yet. It's just hanging out in outer space so far. And this is the line that will actually put this attribute into this attribute holder. And for information on this, see Adding Custom Attributes in the help files. So once again, I'll delete this and run this. Now we have a custom attribute. It's still not doing anything. So far what we've accomplished here is what we would have accomplished by going to Animation and the Parameter Editor. That is, we created the custom attribute, but we haven't wired it up yet. And this rather long line of code is what will accomplish that. And for information on this, check out the ParamWire interface. As you can see, this is a ParamWire function. So once again, I'll delete this and evaluate this. And now this moves our sphere along that path. Now so far we haven't done any animation, we've just created a control, but we can also animate this in Max Script. So let me delete this. And as a final step, we have this animate loop here. And there's just one line of code within this loop. I'll just move this down to the next line. It'll be a little easier to read. So basically it's saying set the value of the parameter to this value. And again, this is just going to be a full sine wave, 360 degrees, because it's 3.6 times this range here, and multiplied by 50 just to make it easier to see. And let's evaluate that. You can see the keys got created there. And if I now push play, that is bouncing back and forth according to that sign function. And I'll just stop that. And you can imagine if you had to create a number of custom attributes that were the same for a variety of objects or characters, this could save you a lot of time doing it with a single click of a button rather than having to go through all those menus. And one last thing I'd like to mention is that you may want to take a look at this topic, how to make it better. It talks about why using scripted custom attributes for persistent data storage is preferable to using global variables. And it gives some examples here of creating custom attributes that are associated with the root node or with the scene, which are both part of the hierarchy of objects that MaxScript can access. And this is a way of having variables that are accessible to all the objects in your scene without having to create globals. And it discusses why having the globals is not desirable, and then how to create that persistent data storage using scripted custom attributes. And that concludes this movie on scripting custom attributes.